who that was. Okay.
I was to press that 5 minutes ago, but thank you. Sorry.
Okay. And Robert Vargo, who's our resident engineer and will be doing the main presentation tonight. And I'll be from the Bureau of Public Affairs from DEP, Fiordizoni. Many of you know me already.
Okay.
If Robert wants to start, he can start the presentation.
Okay, I have received a PowerPoint presentation that I can put on screen. Do you want me to share screen from here, or would one of you want to become co-host and share from your end? Effie, what do you prefer?
What does Robert want? How do you feel, Robert?
Yeah, I can share from here. It's fine.
From ours?
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just share my screen.
Okay,
Yep.
hold on, let me, where's the share screen? There.
Go over there.
Oh, I can do this.
Okay, you good? Everybody seeing this?
Can you
Yeah.
see it?
Yep,
All right.
just tell me next and I move next.
Oh, okay. I think record. I was going to share my screen.
Okay, you want me to go back and make a co-host?
Yeah, hang on. I'll share mine. It's easier for me.
Okay.
Camelia, could you have
Okay.
each of the speakers introduce themselves? Because it's not on the recording who everybody is.
Do you want me to
See
go over it again?
I don't know what you're saying. Well, I'm sharing screen, hold on. What are you saying?
Effie named everybody and where they're from before you started recording. So it would be helpful if we just knew who was speaking. So when I watch it again to remember, I know who people are.
Effie, would you mind reintroducing everybody? Thank you, Jody.
Yeah, absolutely. So good evening. DP is going to be presenting on the construction work at Jerome Park Reservoir. With us from the Bureau of Water Supply is Will Melendez, Alex Santos. In the office is John Milgrim. From the Bureau of Engineering, Design and Construction is Ray Mishkati and Robert Vargo, who will be doing the presentation. He's the resident engineer of the project.
Robert, I made you co-host if you can now share from your end.
Okay, I'll try that.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, seems to be
Everybody see
working.
that?
Yep.
Okay. So we want to give you an update on the current projects that are being conducted and performed at the Jerome Park Reservoir. And let me just go through here. Let's see here. I'll put it on the slideshow presentation. Right. So you probably have been aware of a current project that's been going on since 2018. That was the Jerome Park Reservoir, the architectural restoration of the gatehouses 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7 that surround the reservoir. You know, currently I think you were presented with this project back in 2019. We just updated this slide a little bit to reflect the current conditions of the project. That project was substantially complete in November 29 of 2021. And we're currently doing some closeout work and also some in-house work of completing some of the security measures for those sites for shafts for gatehouses 2, 3, 5, and 7 at this point in time. So that project entailed the deconstruction of gatehouses 2, 3, and 6, the construction of canopy walls at gatehouses 2 and 3 that took the place of gatehouses 2 and 3. We removed the existing 10-foot high chain link fence on the west side of the reservoir and on the south side of the reservoir, clearing and grubbing along the reservoir wall perimeter, clearing all the existing growth that was around the reservoir and intertwined into the chain link fence. We also installed a new concrete fence footing and a 4-foot high fall protection fence that you see, that black fence, 4 foot high around the reservoir, and then also the vehicle guide rail along the roadway for safety purposes. Then we did some architectural restoration of gatehouses 5 and 7. We put a new roof on gatehouse 7. And then we're doing currently, like I said, we're finishing up the permanent security upgrades of gatehouses 2, 3, 5, and 7. Just as a little recap, this was the previous shaft 6, or I mean shaft 6, gatehouse 6 on the left-hand side, and the current conditions right now with the new curbing and asphalt conditions. And you'll see the 4 foot high fall protection fence and a guide rail off there to the right and in the background there. This is gatehouse 2 superstructure demolition and a new canopy wall installation. And behind the canopy wall, there's a new control panel that's out of sight of the local community. Gatehouse 3, similar to gatehouse 2. I went ahead and deconstructed the superstructure of gatehouse 3 and then constructed this canopy wall as a representation of gatehouse 3. The existing conditions before we did construction of 521 contract 521, you see the 10 foot high fence on your right, on the left hand side here, with the growth intertwined in between it, and then the new guide rail, fall protection fence, and the grass area between the roadway and the fall protection fence. The current project that's undergoing right now is another project to restore the Jerome Park Reservoir and rehabilitate the aqueduct. It's a contract that's was bid by Triumph Construction Company for $37,594,000. We're to contract the construction manager for the project. The order to commence date was May 17th, 2021. And the substantial completion date for that project is currently right now, December 29th, 2026, according to the contract schedule and the contract itself. The design engineer was DEP in-house design, similar to the contract 521 project. This project entails the repair of the North Basin ramp and installation of a vehicle guide rail, the North and South Basin east wall repointing and refurbishing. That's the dimension stones above the water line, above the rubble wall portion of the wall. The abandonment and securing of the old Croton Aqueduct between Gatehouse 7 and Gatehouse 6, and filling it with some flowable fill to secure that aqueduct and strengthen that aqueduct and the wall. And similar to 521, the removal of the existing 10 foot high fence and construction of a new 4 foot high fence and installation of guide rail along that roadway, on the east roadway between gatehouses 6 and 7. Then we're also going to rehabilitate the North Basin inlet archway and the wing walls with shotcrete to strengthen them and restore them to their former condition, and construction of a shotcrete armor wall over the lower rubble portion of the east wall, both in the North and the South Basins. There's also some work that we have to do on a Lehman College retaining wall to rehabilitate that wall. That's also along primarily the South Basin, and then paving of the reservoir perimeter roadways. And that'll also include the replacement of any broken curbs around the roadways. There's also another contract coming up, Crow 590, which is going to be really rehabilitate the sluice gates, which are internal to gatehouses 5 and 7, with new gate controls, and the installation of new mechanical screens in Gatehouse 5, and also a new bridge crane in Gatehouse 5. All that work will be done internal to gatehouses 5 and 7. The project constraints for the JRAC contract right now is that one basin needs to be empty at a time in order to go ahead and perform the work. as far as construction of the armor wall on the rubble portion of the east wall. The north basin ramp work, and also restoration of the capstones and installation of new what do you call it, the installation of a new 4-foot high fence and the guide rail along the east wall. One basin needs to be in service at all times to provide city water supply during construction. So we're right now we're working on the north basin, and we have the south basin remaining in service or ready for service at this time for the Croton filtration plant. And then also this project needs to be coordinated with the bypass tunnel connection under the Water for the Future project, which is happening upstate to ensure the continued city water supply. So that's also another project constraint for this project. Some current construction activities. We've completed this work, which is the rubble wall on the south side of the reservoir. You see the new stones being installed and relayed. We've pretty much deconstructed the wall and then reconstructed the wall again to increase its stability and aesthetic value for the reservoir. This is the north basin ramp. So the previous condition on the left-hand side, and then the current condition with a new buttress wall and buttresses along the existing ramp coming down into the north basin. And then the north basin east wall refurbishing currently have Triumph subcontractor routing out all the mortar joints and repointing the dimension stones along the north, the entire north basin wall. They're currently right now, I think they're working their way towards the dividing wall. And I think they're pretty far along right now. We have a little bit of temperature constrictions right now because of the way the weather is, but they're continuing with removing the existing mortar so that when the weather does turn, we'll get a jump on it and be back in repointing those joints there. And then also we've been cutting access openings in the roof of the old Croton Aqueduct. We've also been coring some holes for cleanouts and pour holes so we can install the flowable fill. On the right-hand side, you'll see 2 workers there. They're installing formwork and rebar, reinforcing steel for the new bulkheads that have to go into the aqueduct in order to complete the flowable fill installation. And also you'll notice that the DEP recently mowed the weeds down in the North Basin, and I guess there's a program to monitor and maintain the dry basins during construction at this time. And then just my contact information. Should anybody want to contact me, there's my email address on the bottom. For both this project here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Robert. If you wouldn't mind stopping sharing screen so that I can see if there are like people in the waiting room or this or that. And
okay.
I really appreciate the update, and I really welcome my committee members and everybody else to raise their hands if they have hands. I have 2 hands raised right here in the office. Bo Fanuzzi was first, so Bo, please go ahead.
Thank you, Robert. A lot of people here have a long history with this project. I've only had a decade, 12 years actually, so that makes me a newbie, relatively speaking. You'll hear from more. Is it your intention to keep the North Basin permanently empty after the completion of the East Wall reconstruction?
No, it's after the East Wall reconstruction in the North Basin, we will be switching over to the South Basin and performing the same construction activities in the South Basin.
So can you give me a timeline for that switchover? And then the follow-up is, when the South Basin portion of the east wall is completed, will that be filled and the north basin emptied again?
The
And
current schedule,
there's a reason why I'm asking, and the reason I'm asking is because in 2019, DEP told us it was to remain permanently empty.
Are you okay with that answer, Rob?
sure, go ahead, John.
Okay.
That's fine.
The policy has changed since then. The two basins will interchange for the construction work, obviously. So
Yeah.
once we finish the north basin, repointing of the wall and shotcrete, we go to the east wall of the south basin. We'll have to do the same, emptying the south, use the north for the city water supply.
Yep.
Finish that project, then both basins are going to continue having water in them. They'll have different levels for operational needs.
Yeah.
Because there is an issue with that kind of a fail safe if there's a loss of power at the Croton Reservoir, at the Croton
Yeah, we went
filtration
through
plant.
this. Yep.
There's still about 8 hours worth of water coming down. We need a place to put it. So most likely the north basin will be a little lower than the south basin, but we're going to continue keeping water in.
Would you, a lot of people here are jumping for joy to hear this, but would you, because our community board, by way of background, was aghast that historic site such as this would be modified by having an empty north basin. This sounds like a huge step forward. Do you have it in writing anywhere? And would you be able to provide that?
Do you have
New
me as a
policy?
director from the DEP on recording right now? Telling you that that's
This is pretty.
Effie, do we have that? Was there a letter put together to that effect? You know, Effie's aware of the policy. It's
May I interject something?
You heard my jaw hit the ground, right, Effie?
May I interject something? It's Laura.
Yeah, would you let Effie respond, and Laura, you can.
Yeah, sure.
Effie?
No, it's okay. Laura can go ahead.
Okay, I just want to say that the community board has a letter that we received in 2019 from Michael Deloche, who was the Deputy Commissioner, Public Affairs and Communications, and it says, "We understand the community's concerns about the appearance of the North Basin. Thank you for flagging the issue and advocating on your constituents' behalf. Commissioner Sapienza has set up a new internal policy requiring a minimum of 8 feet of water in the North Basin year-round. So we have that. It was to our district manager, Kira Gannon, and so we have that. And if it's helpful.
Great, thank you, Laura. Bob, are you for the time being okay?
Yeah,
Or you
is
wanna-
that, so could you elaborate a little more? You said 8 foot minimum?
8 foot minimum. That's
Right.
Yeah, that was in the letter that
Mike,
yes.
yeah, okay.
About two years ago.
All right.
I think that was clearly taking the committee's considerations or issues into consideration, understandably.
So we went to great effort to show the historic value of a full reservoir.
Thank you, Bob. I'm moving to Bob Spalter, followed by Deb Travis, Karen Argenti. And I will go then to Jesse from Assemblymember Dinowitz, and then to Gary. Bob Spalter.
Yeah, it's Robert. On one of the slides, you said that the bypass tunnel underwater. Under what water? I didn't understand that. It was not.
That's a project, the Water for the Future program that the city has. That's a project we are doing about 60 miles north of here.
I read about that. Yeah.
There's where Newburgh is, Newburgh to Wappingers. It's the largest capital repair project DEP has ever undertaken. We built a 2.5 mile long tunnel to bypass the Delaware Aqueduct, where currently we have an issue of about 30 million gallons a day leaking. It's structurally unsound. The Newburgh side, there is expressions up to the surface. The bypass tunnel has been built. Later this year, we're scheduled to shut the aqueduct down, connect both ends of the bypass tunnel, which already exists and is there. And
Then everybody's water will look funny for a week.
it probably shouldn't. It may. What's going to end up happening is during the shutdown of the Delaware Aqueduct, probably starting in October, we're going to have a much more significant reliance on the Croton system. So that's where the interplay is. That the Delaware Aqueduct carries about 50% of the city's water supply on any given day. So we're going to have to rely fully on the Catskill Aqueduct, which is also from the Catskills, all the way down to the West Branch Reservoir up in Putnam County. So we're going to, Croton being so critical at that point, whereas Croton is usually about 10% of the water supply. There it'll be a little bit more, and it'll be critical just to keep the water supply adequate for the city.
Right?
That's where the interplay is.
Thank you.
Bob, that was it, right? Bob's water? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good. Can I move? Thank you. Deb, please go ahead. And I also just to say I made you co-host just in case something fails on our end here. Somebody keeps it running.
Okay. One thing I wanted to ask about was, and thank you all for coming. I appreciate, it's good to get things from the horse's mouth. And thank you, Camelia, for organizing this. As part of the Tibbetts Brook Daylighting Project, there is a Jerome Park Reservoir connector that runs down Van Cortlandt Avenue South and Cortlandt Avenue West. Can you speak a little bit about how that coordinates with these other construction projects? Is it, in terms of timing and water levels in the reservoir, noise, that kind of thing?
I'm not involved in that, in the Tibbetts Brook project. But I think that the work that we're doing within the reservoir doesn't really impact the Tibbetts Brook project, or the Tibbetts Brook project does not impact what we're doing in the Jerome Park Reservoir.
There's some sort of a JPR connector pipe that is on the plan that would directly connect into the Jerome Park Reservoir. Is that?
Yeah, this is Will Melendez from operations. That's correct. But we'll be able to coordinate that work with the work going at Jerome. It shouldn't have an impact. There's enough capacity at Jerome to shut the blow off down and do that construction work related to the Tibbetts Brook project. So we don't foresee any, coordination issues with the current projects there.
Okay, so it would be kind of net new pipe under Van Cortlandt Avenue South? Or are you connecting to existing infrastructure?
No, yeah, it's an existing infrastructure. It's the blow off pipe that leads from the reservoir down to the Broadway sewer.
Mm-hmm.
And all we'll be doing is constructing a diversion chamber along the Major Deegan, intercepting that pipe. So it's really localized construction right at the Major Deegan, just making a connection to that blow off pipe, existing pipe.
Got it. Okay.
To the Tibbetts Brook. Yeah. It allows additional capacity for us to, if we need it, to discharge into the Tibbetts Brook.
Right. Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. And then my second question was regarding the Delaware Aqueduct project that you were just speaking about. What are the what's the timeline, I guess, for the blending? Like, when can we expect that there might be changes in reservoir level, or changes where we might have different flavors, that kind of thing? There was a whole big Michigas a couple of years ago.
Well, I'm going to try to avoid the Michigas, but basically the shutdown is right now slated for October. We had planned to do it last year. There were a few issues that cropped up with the supply chain. Also, ultimately, with the dry summer we had at the end of the summer, probably would have put a stop to it regardless. But as of now, we're looking to do it pretty much exactly a year after the original plan. So October would be the initial shutdown. I am currently working with the teams just to put together a kind of the timeline on the mixing and the reliance on the various systems. Before we go into our water season, which starts in June, we'll be relying more heavily, obviously, on the Delaware system, drawing that one down as we keep water in the Catskill system, Catskill being the eastern side of the Catskill Mountains, the Shokan and Schoharie reservoirs. The Delaware system is quite a bit larger with the 4 reservoirs. So early part of the water season, we're going to rely more on the Delaware system. Later, obviously, we're going to shut that down. We'll still have releases from the reservoirs into the Delaware River, Neversink River, up the chain, but not through the tunnel. So once we move to the Catskill system, there will be some blending with Croton, which we already have. The Catskill system is very high quality water. And I know that there was some work with Croton system to try to address some of the taste and odor issues that did occur, I believe, over the last couple of years. So there will still be a blend with quite a bit of the Catskill water.
And then how long will that formation or that percentage of kind of part Croton, part Catskill last?
And well, just to be clear, we often do just Delaware, just Croton together, just Catskill, just Croton together. The shutdown, we're expecting the project, the connection, to take between 5 and 8 months. We're optimistic at the front end of 5 months, but we want to do 8 months on the outside to be conservative. And then we would be back to the full system using the bypass tunnel as we shut down the broken section, essentially, under the Hudson River. So it's a 5 to 8 month project to do the actual connection. And that's where the Delaware would be shut down. We wouldn't be drawing from the Delaware for reservoirs into the city system during that period of time.
Okay, all right, great. And then I'm sure Gary's going to ask about public access, so I won't. I just want to ask one question about backup power. When we were talking about the levels of water in the North Basin, having adequate backup power at the filtration plant, so we wouldn't need to rely on, you know, a huge catcher's mitt essentially for the water coming down. Has there been any work to kind of scope out what appropriate backup power would be, particularly as we know we've already had major blackouts in the city? There was a NYC Revealed documentary last night just talking about the effects on filtration plants when there's no power. So I thought of this meeting immediately.
Oh boy, everyone's looking at me. Effie, I do not have an answer for the Croton filtration power needs off the top of my head. I think that's a question we can
Back to you.
absolutely come back with. So,
Yeah.
Let's save this for a follow-up, if that's okay. Then, can I move to Karen, please? Yes, I guess, yes. Karen, please go ahead.
Hi, everybody. So on the North Basin, how far is that Shot Creek going?
Rob,
Go ahead.
can you?
So we had some problem with what was going to be seen. That's why, you know, that 8-foot thing, we want to make sure that the rocks above are nice to look at.
So that shotcrete portion will go from the basin floor to the interface between the rubble portion of the wall and the dimension stone. So it'll cover the rubble portion of the lower half of the east wall.
And how far will that be?
Roughly, it's about 14 feet, I think.
So
12 to
we'll see
14
that.
feet.
If the water is only 8 feet, we're going to see 6 feet of this Shot Creek stuff.
Yeah, this is well. Yeah, as we were thinking about, we've been thinking about that also, Karen. So
Okay.
probably, you know, most likely what's gonna happen is we're probably gonna just cover that Shot Creek. You know, looking at it now, may not be a good idea to leave that upper portion exposed to the elements.
Sure.
So we'll probably take a look. We'll have to check the capacities again and the volumes again. But I think if it allows us to, we will probably at least fill it up to that line and cover the exposed shotcrete. It's probably better for the shotcrete in the long run to keep it submerged.
Which is still lower.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
And I assume you're going to also fix some of the cracks on the ground of the North Basin also, right? When you get finished with everything.
Yes, yeah, we're gonna give it a good cleaning after it's all done. And there's some slabs that are heaved up and cracked that we're gonna identify it and fix those.
The rubble wall going up this.
And is that rack, that thing that's coming down the ramp from the
Oh, yeah.
Is that gonna be a ramp or is it just gonna be like sticks? I mean, I couldn't see it. I was looking at it from the other side, from Goulden.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a ramp there.
Yeah, there's an existing, what you're talking on the North Basin?
Yeah, in the North Basin, the ramp going down.
Yeah, there's the existing ramp. They just added additional like buttresses just to support the outer wall of it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Right,
I didn't
just
realize
make-
that. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make it a little stronger coming down so it could, handle the heavy truck traffic and stuff.
Right. Right. And does anybody know about what's going on with the police department, the DEP Police Department facility?
What's going on, Karen?
Are you talking about, Karen, are you talking about the police booth at Gatehouse 5 on Goulden?
Right. Yeah.
As far as I know, at this point in time, is that they, they demolished the police booth, the existing police booth, and they are currently either in fabrication or in the shop drawing review of a new police booth. And I was told, because we're coordinating with the Bureau of Police and Security, that sometime in the spring that a new police booth will be installed. But
Well, I think it's gonna be sooner than that. I think it's gonna be next week.
Okay, that's news to me.
Laura and I were out on what, Sunday? And we met a DP police officer and we asked him. But he didn't know exactly when it would happen.
Yeah, that could be the case. It's definitely been approved and it's in fabrication. I'm not sure of the delivery date, but that could be it could be very soon.
And so can we get the community board to get notice of these things? Because he did say that they were gonna have to close the street to put it in. Who knows what that means?
You know what, Karen, let me reach out to BPS to the chief there and find out exactly what they're gonna do. So,
Okay,
and it's not part of this project that Rob just presented. It was
Right.
through BPS or the Police Services Bureau. So why don't I give you an email by the end of the week? Gosh, they're supposed to do it
no,
tomorrow.
you don't have to, and whenever it's gonna happen, we just like to know, like, the whole idea about notice is like, if something is going to happen that's gonna
Okay.
interfere with the neighborhood, we just like to know, get like a head start notice about it.
Jesus, sorry, our clock literally just fell from the wall, like,
Yeah, a little poltergeist here.
Karen, you brought this.
I didn't do anything.
Just kidding. Sorry, I don't know, I understand why, but, okay, everything is okay. Go ahead, Karen.
Karen, I'll be
Okay,
in
so anyhow, we just
tomorrow.
like to know, right?
Yeah, let me reach out to the chief tomorrow. I'll give him a holler. I'll find out what we're doing and I'll shoot you an email or give you a call.
Okay, and then can we, I mean, usually on a job, we get notice, like a regular notice, we all like could sign up for, get notified what's going on monthly or, whatever. Can we get those like little updates? The neighborhood?
Yeah, I agreed to put together a little newsletter on a quarterly basis to go
Right.
ahead and Effie did provide me with contact information. So
Robert, that would be
I will go ahead and do that.
Yeah, all
Okay.
our correspondence on this is for regular updates, which is why we're here today. That would be fantastic, Robert.
Thank
Sure.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen. From Assembly Member Dinowitz's office, Jesse Lehrer, followed by Gary.
Hi, thank you, and thank you for this excellent presentation. I just have two really quick questions. Just just as simply put as possible, when do you expect public access to return? And as far as the North and South Basin, when do you expect the water to return? I'm sure these are not surprising questions. Were you able to hear me?
Well,
I am, but I did hear you, but I don't think I can answer that question.
yeah, Frank, I think for right now, we do have an expected completion of the project date of 2026. during the construction clearly is just not going to be public access. I think we're ways from discussing that opportunity. In terms of the water returning, where both basins would be with water, that would be after the expected completion date as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure.
Jesse, you're good? Can I move on? Thank you so much. Gary, please.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I appreciate that the Assemblyman's office brought up the notion of access, because it's what I want to talk about. I'll give you a little bit of background, which many people know. The Jerome Park Reservoir is 96 acres, a very large plot of land within, I counted 5 different Bronx communities that are densely populated with, I think the EIS that they did for the filtration plant said about 350,000 people. That's a lot of people. It's not a secret that healthcare, that the need for young people and families to recreate and find new places to do it, and also to understand the natural and historic resources that they have are paramount ways that we can really do better as a people and as a borough. I was disappointed with the brief answer to the Assemblyman's question about public access, because it seems to me if we're going to have a plan, just like you plan for construction or anything else, we ought to make a plan and have a dialogue right now about how that's going to happen. I will just make a brief recommendation. Now, while it seems nice that the roadway is being redone, while the roadways on Sedgwick Avenue and other places are quite rumbly, but the reservoir has a nice flat roadway for its own vehicles, it would be nice if the general public could get the opportunity to use that, and that beautiful south basin wall that is being reconstructed with some expense. And it seems to me it would be real nice if young people in the Bronx, if local residents, lifetime residents like myself, could walk through there and really appreciate the great work that the DEP and its contractors have done to make it look nice. I was at the Central Park Reservoir the other day, and there is a tour that there are QR codes periodically about. And I recall when we did have an access program in the reservoir, a very big part of the DEP's agenda was to educate the public about the water system. Wouldn't it be nice if we could come up with a way to do something like that? When you're spending $38 million to rehabilitate a back wall of the reservoir, the amount of money that would cost would be minimal. And so I'm willing to say that would be the long-term goal, but a very doable short-term goal is, I don't know what the official name is, but that walkway that goes from Sedgwick Avenue to Goulden Avenue. It is wide, it is clean. And if you look at the High Bridge, there is fencing that allows for very good views and protects the public from going over the side, that has been approved by all safety and security people. If you go along the Mario Cuomo Bridge recently created, you can walk from Westchester all the way to Rockland County, and it's the same kind of fencing. I'm really having a hard time determining why we couldn't have that kind of fencing around that area. Now, whether it needs to be open 24/7, maybe that's a security issue. I can appreciate that. But it just seems to me that would be a really good way to start to incorporate the 350,000 people who live in the neighborhood and want to appreciate the great work the DEP has done at operating its water facility. So you open the long-term plan, you open that up, you do it either during a time schedule, or you want to do it rush hours so people can walk from Sedgwick Avenue to, let's say, Lehman College or Bronx Science. That would be a real good way of doing it, beginning and after school days. Then you get people involved, then you figure out what the security needs are. One of the issues that came up, and I'm sorry for going on too long, I'm almost done, One of the issues that came up, I remember during the last walk around that we had, was there was some concern about visualization, people seeing something. Nobody at this meeting or in the community wants our water system to be compromised or contaminated in any way. There's going to be telescopes on the outside edge of the reservoir. I know from my window, if all I need is a telescope or binoculars, I could see anything inside, within the walls of the reservoir. I'd like to understand what the real objection would be to. Every agency needs to participate in improving our communities, especially one that operates 96 acres in the middle of 350,000 people. That's my wrap. I'm willing to pursue this in any form a committee, have dialogue, have regular meetings, come up with a design. There's 100 things. I know that Councilmember Dinowitz's office is here. The Assembly member's office has already expressed interest. Robert Jackson is kind of new to the area. I'm sure he'd have interest in it. I think the time now is to begin the discussion, begin the dialogue, and really dream something amazing for both the water system and the people of this part of the Bronx. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gary. Anybody willing to deal with this?
Yeah, we're all for it.
Yeah.
Gary, we're all.
No, I wonder if
Is there somebody from the department?
John or
Is there somebody from the department who would respond and say something and not let it just go into the air? This is a real thing, and we've been talking about this for generations.
I think I've got to essentially say what I said earlier, which is we've got the construction project currently that's ongoing through the end of 26, and that right now is where our attention is.
Well, how do we divert the attention to include the discussion of this? Can be done.
Gary, yeah.
Who do we got to talk to? We got to talk to the commissioner. I'm not shy.
Yeah. Gary, so as you can see there, a preliminary answer is that the focus is on the construction at this moment. Your comments were absolutely valid, and I believe that all of us in this committee will follow up, because we absolutely support the things that you said in the project, bringing value to the community, not only to the infrastructure, but value to the community living around it. So just to say, rest assured, we will continue with the conversations inside this committee, and we are always happy to have you joining and advocating on behalf of the needs of the residents around. Deb, I see your hand up again. Do you want to add?
No, I was giving you a thumbs up for.
Oh no, thank you so much, Gary. No, but I see Deb has her hand up again, so that's what I was. Thank you again, Gary, and Jody too. So then just quick, and then we pass to Jody. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to Gary's comments. Beautifully stated. Gary laid out the case really well. I think that we're going to be discussing as part of this committee the fiscal year 25 work. Budget priorities for capital and for expense. And I do think that it would behoove DEP to work with the community, identify a person of who we should be working with to help scope out what the community needs are and what's possible, so that we can then have coherent fiscal year budget priorities for fiscal year 26, right? Once looking ahead to when this project is done. So it's all integrated. So I just think that it's good to start kind of getting the ball rolling so that people are on the same page and have aligned expectations, because it will take time.
Thank you, Deb. Jody, please.
Yes, so I just want to add to that. So let's see, 2018 to 2026 construction, that's almost a decade.
Jody, would you speak a little bit closer maybe to the mic, or?
I'm on my earphones. I'm as loud as they can go.
Okay, it's okay.
Is that better? So I want to echo what Deb and Gary said about how important this is. This is the closest that some people in the neighborhood will ever get to water. So is there a way to incorporate it during construction? Because once this project finishes, what's the next project? Are we going to be under construction? I live near the Henry Hudson Bridge. We've had 13 years of construction. One project ends, a year later, the next one begins. So it would be really great if you could use all your skill and knowledge to create a way to provide some access during the projects that is safe for the reservoir, the people, and the workers. That would be so amazing, because I've only been working on this for 28 years, and Gary's been probably like 40 years of trying to get the community access to this beautiful space that's in the middle of multiple communities. So I believe that you guys have the ability to figure it out, in addition to making the water supply safe. So I just want to plead for that. Friends of Spite and Dival is totally behind that. So that's it.
Okay, last call from anybody to add anything on this topic?
Yeah,
Yes.
like Karen wants to say something.
Oh, Karen and Bob Fanuzzi. Let me go first to Karen, Bob, if you don't mind. Oh,
Just to
no.
tie things up, who did you?
Yeah, I know, I just,
You want?
because she was first sort of
Oh, go
reading,
ahead,
so.
go ahead.
Karen, please go ahead. No, you have to unmute, Karen.
You unmute.
Okay, I would like to suggest that, like we did with other institutions in Community Board 8, that we ask for it doesn't have to be a big deal kind of thing, but just a sample, a master plan for Jerome Park Reservoir. And I'm sure you have that at the DEP, because you plan for 50 years at a time. And so if we could just get like a sketchy master plan, and then we could put in our little access points thing into it, then I think it would be very helpful. So I think the committee will be asking for that, and I would recommend that highly. We usually ask for master plan because we want to know about stormwater matters, but in this case, I don't think that's really a problem. But it would be nice if we knew what the master plan thoughts were for Jerome Park Reservoir. I'm done.
Effie, would a letter be helpful in obtaining something along the lines that Karen suggested? Should we make like a formal request of some sort?
If you choose to do that, you can definitely do that. John and I will definitely bring these requests and concerns to our higher ups, and we will, let them know about this. But if you want to put it in writing, by all means, please do so.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Oh, sorry, both panels, you want to add something?
Just very mundane. So the request that Karen referred to is made on behalf of the community board to all large landlords, institutions that own a lot of property. So you certainly fall into that category. And I just wanted to ask attendees here who are community members, are there any issues about truck traffic or construction debris that we should bring to DEP's attention since they're here? Because I know DEP tries its best to educate the contractors about waste and traffic. Are there any issues that they should hear about? Anybody from the JPR community?
I personally haven't seen any. I mean, I'm hesitant to say no, everything's okay. But the point about the point about, well, because you always find something out, but the point about keeping the basins clean and clear of overgrowth is a very, and we heard that, and that's really good. You should have a plan like that, and especially when the larger basin is empty, the southern basin, that becomes even more of an issue. So I was pleased with that. That was great.
Yeah. Anyways, the virtual door is open. Everybody knows the email to the community board office, and everybody's absolutely welcome to send in new reports, pictures, etc., and the office will forward to Effie. We thank so much all of you for being here and answering all these questions. You see, there is sort of great thirst from the community to see this project advancing, to see this project having like a positive, visual and sort of mental impact on the community, not only in its like technical aspect, but actually like as a recreation sort of resource for the community. And you see how interested people were. We will follow up discussing it internally, sort of in the context of the committee, how we will follow up this conversation. But just wanted to express again our appreciation that all of you, Effie, John, Will, and Alex, that you join us this evening. And please come back when we call you again, because probably we will at some point in the future. And really appreciating everybody being so open and transparent. Really, really appreciating. Thank you so much.
Do you mind if I just say something?
Yeah.
Just to try to cover some, I mean, obviously there are some things we just don't have answers for yet, but as a community group, and frankly, I deal with, 19 reservoirs, 3 controlled lakes, about 200 municipalities from here to Binghamton. We do want to try as hard as we can to take your issues into consideration for every one of our projects. Just on the surface of the North Basin, for example, it was an issue. It came up, I think Karen mentioned it when we brought her up to see a project we just finished at the Kensico Reservoir. I mentioned it to myself and Adam Reeves, who's the director of water treatment operations, which is the Kensico Dam. And pretty quickly we responded, we treated the area, we cleaned it, we mowed, and we've committed to implementing a program where we make sure that we get those weeds before you see them, ideally, because I think we completely understand what that means to a community. At the same time, I think Effie, you shared an email. Somebody brought an issue up about some stones that were missing from a wall. I think Sedgwick Avenue, there's a bus station. Within 2 days, we had a team out there. We mortared it, put the stones back in, took pictures, and got it taken care of. So your issues are very important to us. They will be handled to the best of our ability, and really feel free. You have Bob's email for that project. You can obviously use my email. I know Effie's in contact with the community board quite a bit, but we will do what we can to.
Really appreciate it. Once again, I thank you all, and especially I thank you for closing with this positive and promising sort of note of helping us move forward from the point of view of the community and this project impact on the community, and we really appreciate your goodwill. I am halfway through the scheduled duration of this meeting, so with this, I'm closing this matter. Dear DEP colleagues, feel free to log out or stay on as you wish. And I'm moving into the topic, the initial topic that I said we will kind of reverse order. And that is our contribution to the New York, New Jersey Harbor and Tributaries Feasibility Study, NYNJ HATS. So I will refer to it like this from now on. Thank you, Will. So to take it back to November, can you just write me your email? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm taking it back to November. If you remember, here in the ENS committee of CB8, we have discussed submitting contribution. Even though the area that is directly dealt with in that study is basically the harbor area in Manhattan, Coney Island, the Rockaways, Staten Island, and the eastern side of New Jersey, sort of coastal. We did consider necessary for the committee to start working on a submission because we have concerns related on how all these harbor-related grand infrastructure projects will impact us kind of upstream, to put it that way. And we had delegated the task of going further into the topic to the water committee. It's a committee that has been convened every now and then on specific sort of expert topics. Committee made up of Karen Argenti, Deb Travis, and Bob Fanuzzi. We were operating back then on a time frame that was requiring a submission before January 6th. So we were a little bit under the constraint of how can we submit this? So with the support of Laura, we said, okay, we would submit a sort of correspondence, right? And Karen did a tremendous job compiling a submission from the water group, a submission that I further edited as little as I could, but did change the format, thinking that, and we convened this early meeting of ENS on January 3rd, thinking that we definitely have to have something passed by the committee and then submitted for January 6th. Now, in between the first day of the year on Sunday, when I got a call from Laura, and then a couple of subsequent conversations with our Vice Chair, Bob Fanuzzi. First of all, we were happy that the time frame for submission, the deadline has been extended to March 7th. And we thought, okay, let's just have this evening, the water committee present their report. And then at the following meeting in February, we would further proceed with kind of a resolution maybe, and to finalize everything for board vote. But Bob Fanuzzi, so after changing this kind of couple of times during the last 2 days, Bob Fanuzzi realized, and thank God he did, that due to scheduling, meaning the next full board meeting is February 14, that is a day before what would be the ENS scheduled meeting. So all in all, we are back to the situation of approving tonight something that will move on to the board. There was a further matter of deciding whether, because Laura came to me saying, hey, this is fairly important, and now that we have time, let's turn it into a resolution, because the full sort of power of the board will be behind it, and it would reach the sort of the radar of the electeds and all that. So all in all, to say, make it from correspondence submission to a formal community board resolution. So all in all, to make it very simple and resume all this, so we thought we had to do it in one shot, and we were ready for the one shot. Then it got split sort of in 2 steps, thinking we have the larger time frame, but because of scheduling, we are back to one shot that we have to figure out this evening, and we have to decide on moving it forward to the board. So my first sort of question, first of all, I would like to extend huge thanks to Karen for compiling all her work into that document that was circulated earlier today. And Karen, I will give you now the floor to present it. But after that, we do have to kind of come together as a committee and discuss what is on the table, because I think we all, I mean, let me just ask you all, I do believe we have we all realize the importance of this, and having it as a resolution versus just communication. I will kind of go one by one. Deb, are you okay with like resolution versus correspondence? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think the resolution is a good
idea. Karen? Yes, okay, you're muted, but I kind of read your list and you said yes. Yes, okay. And Bob Smalter too, yes, and I know I agree. You agree, thank you. Yeah, and I know both unknowns did too. Rashida?
Yes.
Yes, you're okay with resolution. Excellent. Thank you so much. And again, I think you understood what I meant, going from 1 step to 2 steps and now back to 1 step. And I just want sort of count on your understanding on the sequence of emails, because they flew as we were kind of trying to prepare our best and put this forward, because there was so much work that went into it from Karen, the water group. Without further ado, Karen, I will give you the word to present the report. Do you want me to put it up? Your submission, so that like we go through it, or you just want to speak however you want. I have it ready here if you want it.
No, I think I can just speak.
Okay,
I think everybody got it, and I can just speak. So the first thing I wanted to do was quickly, I did prepare for you Camelia, our biannual report. The water working group is supposed to report quarterly. You know, during the pandemic and everything, we haven't had that much of work to do. And so this is the biennial report. It explains what the committee's supposed to do, who's on the committee, who we would confer with in addition to BCQ, and some of the things that we did. And so that's like a 2-page thing. In case
Wonderful.
you
Do
want,
you want
in
me to
case
put
there's
it on the
questions.
website? I'm happy to ask the staff if you want to put it on the website, just to show everybody how much work you're putting into synthesizing all this. But
Well,
you're
that's just the committee work. So
Okay.
the working group, I prepared the document and then I circulated it to the working group, which is, as you said, Robert and Deb, and then also Rob, who's sitting right in front of you, and Deirdre Burke. And so we all consulted on it, and some people added things and some people, you know, thought it was fine. It was. So basically what we said was that the Army Corps of Engineers made this plan, but they didn't consider what was going to happen to us. They were going to build a wall here and they're going to build it all down south and in southern part of New York and the southern part of the Bronx. Even the Bronx southern walls, they weren't very sure about whether that was a good thing or not. But we were trying to figure out what would happen to us if they built all these walls. And so that's the beginning of our conversation. And I think everybody has seen this. It was sent out to everyone. So that's why I don't think we have to show it. So we were concerned about how Superstorm Sandy went up to 238th Street when the floods came out, and that there's been a tremendous amount of development since that time and no infrastructure to take care of it. Then there's the possibility that as a storm comes after they build Tibbetts Brook, and what's going to happen with that, and will they disturb everything that we fought so hard to get? Sure. And then we have the problem of the water coming not just from the south if there's a surge, but if it's raining in Lower Manhattan, it's going to be raining in Westchester and Yonkers, and we're going to get water coming down Van Cortlandt Park. And then we also have this combined sewer overflow, which is the largest one in the city. Hopefully it won't be the largest very much longer after we do the daylighting project. And that there is this program that the Army Corps has, which is called Engineering with Nature. And the newest thing is for green infrastructure is to talk about nature-based natural features. And why not adopt some of those and do them in other parts besides just in Lower Manhattan. And Deb even gave us this thing about what happened at the Hudson River Park. And this is like some kind of like a floating dock thing, which now everybody's talking about that, Deb. It's like a big thing, you know, like let's put a floating dock here and there. And so we also need to know what the water budget is and how the water goes for in Van Cortlandt Lake, in and out of Van Cortlandt Lake. And so that's basically our recommendations, and we put it together after, I don't know, I think we started in October, November, and the report was completely done by December 5th. So
yes. Yes, thanks, Karen. Just wanted to say that, so I started this morning looking at the 2 hours and 9 minutes presentation that Army Corps did, a public presentation with it. I went about like 1 hour and 45 minutes into it. And it's quite interesting that they do mention, and many, I mean, first of all, just to say, the project is gigantic, like billions of dollars. The money is not appropriated yet, but they are still waiting for Congress to, but the Congress did ask them to do the study, right? So they selected between like 5 different proposals. This particular proposal, I kind of want to share the screen and just show everybody, just for the record. Hold on. Just a brochure, because
you want me to do it? You want me to do it?
I cannot minimize Zoom while I'm recording. Oh, seriously? Okay. Yeah, I just want them. No, hold on. I will do a different way. Just want, because I just want people honestly to see the brochure. Hold on. Then I have to go back, and then I have to share screen. Let me see. Is it showing? Yes,
On the
this
first
one,
one.
there we go. Hold on, do you guys see this?
Yes.
Yes,
yeah.
I just want to zoom on the map, honestly. Because I think this gives people like the actual, you know, what they, at the moment, what is the alternative that they are looking most closely at. So as far as, so we are like here, right? But you can see all these things along the Harlem River, and other than that, it's Manhattan Harbor area and across New Jersey and Queens and the Rockaways and all that, and a little bit here. So we are here, as you see, and they did identify couple of in other arts. So this is alternative 3B, right? That they are considering.
Yes.
But in other alternatives, they did mention exactly kind of what we are dealing with, which is the effects of a tributary river or like lowland sort of, and the potential for flooding of that. But obviously they settled on this for the time being. What I want to say, Karen, is that this is clearly a very, very long-term project. They are kind of just at the beginning of all of this. So I think what I think I wonder how many community boards, even along these you know, areas are thinking as far as you do and we do.
Manhattan's.
Manhattan is okay, good. It would be nice to check on what they are.
Yeah,
You know, so maybe
It's a priority.
Let me stop this. So I will now switch to, I will just switch, if you don't mind, to kind of what we have on the table as far as action, right? And I will open this. Let me
So
just.
when we started, while you're talking, when we started, we were the only community board that was talking about this, but since that time, the Army Corps has been appearing at community board committee meetings in Manhattan and Queens, because the borough presidents from those counties requested that they attend all those meetings.
Nice. We could maybe invite them for February.
We haven't got that from on high yet. We asked the VP if
Oh,
she wanted, yeah, she didn't answer.
She said no, yeah. I mean, we're not a little bit far from the immediate adjacent area, right? But we do have reasons to be concerned. I mean, the Tibet's book and just the history of marble is a concern, right? Like, we have valid reasons. So I don't think we're not prohibited from inviting them to join, right? Even whatever.
You could call them, or we could call them and ask.
Yeah, so when we submit this submission, we could also say, you know, please join. I mean, whether it's February, March, April, whatever, until the end of the year, we're likely to submit when the second version of this will come out, again, a contribution. But Karen, if you don't mind, and everybody, please let me kind of do the business so that we are settled on something, and then we can kind of further brainstorm on sort of future steps. So I was showing you this. I know, let me zoom a little bit out. So Karen, I did change the formatting. First of all, to say all of the ideas are your ideas. I didn't provide any substantive contribution or anything of that sort. Everything you put there, it's there. I thought there is tremendous values in the pictures that you use. So this is the main reason why I changed the formatting. Also, I moved a couple of paragraphs around because I know that sometimes from the perspective of an expert like you, kind of everything seems repetitive, but from a person that just reads this kind of for the first time, I felt like I want to understand sort of the flow, and I thought of them in the same way because they're so concentrated on the sort of the ocean side, right? But they don't think up the stream on the rivers, which is kind of where we are. So this is why I did all this. I also highlight some of the kind of the main things and the main concerns, and this is what I came up with. On the style, I think I made mostly kind of just like minor clerical things to make it a little bit more formal. And one thing I do want to add at the very end, or maybe at the very beginning, to say like a formal, absolutely formal thanks to the water working group of the ENS, and put your names there so that people know the ideatic and the conceptual contribution is yours. Having said all this, we do need to put forward a resolution to the board, and I sent something out, and all of these were sent out earlier, but then Bob Fanuzzi did give me some feedback. And this is what we have right now. I mean, I went, Bob Fanuzzi, just so you know, when we were speaking, I went one by one and everybody agrees it should be a resolution. So I'm going ahead and like deleting this section. All right. So we are left with this, right? I will read through. I don't think
Excuse me,
as
Camelia?
short. Yeah.
Camelia, are you showing something on the screen? Because I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my God, hold on 1 second. I'm so sorry, guys.
Thank
Like,
you.
wait, I don't know what we're doing.
I'm so sorry. Just okay. I'm here. Okay. Thank you so much, Jody.
Thank you, thank you.
Scrolling through
Okay.
the document before, yeah, but okay. So this is what we have as resolution right now. I will read through and please kind of make your mental notes to correct me on any wording or any such thing. But my strong sort of drive on this is to indeed submit it to full board in January, meaning next week. For this, I have to send it to exec tomorrow. So we do have to make a call on this tonight, while we may still have a couple of days for any other last minute wording change or whatever on the actual attachment, because frankly, I want this off the list because February will get back to us in a vengeance with budget priorities, with a million things that will pop up. So I feel like we're like 90% ready to submit. So let's get the board to back us up and submit. So this is the resolution from the Environment and Sanitation Committee on submission or for submission, I should write maybe?
Yeah.
For, okay, I will do this kind of like here, hold on.
Take out the comment.
For, take out the comma, yes. For submission to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, New Jersey Harbor and Tributaries Study Taiwan Feasibility Study, whereas the CPA-ENS reviewed the U.S. Army Corps New Jersey Harbor and Tributaries Study Taiwan Feasibility Study, available at, here's a link, and its impacts on the Bronx CB8 district, whereas CB8-ENS Water Working Group submitted a report on the feasibility study to the ENS committee on January 3, right now, for consideration by the committee, whereas the main concerns of the CB8-ENS committee relate to the possibility for the proposed changes in the Manhattan Harbor area to potentially direct more water north directly at the area of the Bronx CB8 district, potentially increasing pressure against the outbound water from combined sewer overflow outfalls. Whereas the main recommendation from the Bronx CB8-ENS committee is for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to study the impact of the additional water volume on the northern bank of the Harlem River and to mitigate against stormwater backups in the Northwest Bronx. Therefore, be it resolved that the Bronx CBA adopts the recommendations of the ENS committee regarding the potential impacts of New Jersey HATS feasibility study and approves the title of the document as its comment on the study. Now I'm reading this and on the therefore be it resolved, maybe we can just go with approves the attached. You see what I'm saying? Maybe cut this, adopts. I mean, they don't need to adopt. They just need to approve for us to submit whatever you think. But this is the resolution. Open to board members. Feel free to raise hands, unmute, or I don't know. I just unmute directly because I leave the text on the screen so I can't see if you raise hands. But board committee members, please speak.
Yes, that's fine. Take it out.
Take it out. Thank you, Karen.
Agree.
Agree. Here, approves the attached as its comment on the study. So this is
Take out the in front of Bronx CBA.
that Bronx CB8 there as its comment on the study. Yeah, I made it as short as possible while giving credit where credit is due as per Laura's advice.
Okay, excellent.
Okay,
Good job.
are people
On from, maybe that should be a capital in your first letter.
where?
From at the very top there, just underneath the heading. No,
From here? Okay, perfect.
I don't think you need from. I think you just need environment sanitation.
Oh.
You know,
Yeah, she's
what are
right.
you saying? Environmental sanitation,
Yeah, just,
That's it, yeah.
environmental sanitation committee for submission to the UN?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Camelia, where the third whereas, where it says the main concern relate to the possibility for the proposed, I think it's of the proposed changes
Correct, excellent. Yes, thank you.
in the Manhattan Harbor area to, I think you can get rid of potentially, since we're talking about just the possibility. So it can just to direct
Correct.
more water north. And then you can, because you're using direct, you can get rid of directly. So the next is, so to direct more water north, you can get rid of directly. So it's just
Targeting, you wanna say targeting? Targeting the area of the.
targeting, focusing maybe
Focusing, okay.
on the area of Bronx and potentially which would cause
Hold on. Focusing
Yeah.
on the area of the Bronx.
You can just say focusing on Bronx CBA district, not area of.
Okay.
or just maybe impact or directly impacting, yeah.
On Bronx CBA district. Sorry, then where are you?
So whereas the,
We said impacting the CBA. district.
I think impacting
yeah,
more direct, like is
I
affecting
think
us.
impacting is more direct, yeah. Impacting Bronx Community District, Community Board 8 district, and then potentially increasing pressure against the outbound water from the combined sewer overflow outfalls, and simultaneously increasing the pressure from the river onto the land. There's just going to be more
Hold on,
volume of
and
water.
simultaneously increasing pressure, what?
Increasing the volume of water attempting to come up the channel and onto the land.
Volume of water attempting.
I guess what's the word we're looking for?
Could we-
Flowing.
Can I jump in?
Overflowing or flooding, overflowing the land,
Exacerbating, can I jump in?
exacerbating existing flooding conditions.
Since I live in the neighborhood that has flooded during Ida.
Okay, so we are
so can we say exacerbating
what?
the flooding that is
Existing flooding.
currently.
Yes.
Exacerbating the,
Flooding, exacerbating existing flooding
Yes.
patterns and conditions.
I would
Because
say storm surge flooding conditions.
storm surge, yeah.
That's good,
Because-
Deb. Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah,
We can hear you, but there are 3 people speaking at the same time.
right before existing, right after existing, put existing storm surge flooding.
Yeah, it's water coming from 2 different directions.
Surge, flooding patterns and conditions?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Are we good?
Yes.
Yes, somebody kindly make a motion
I make a
for,
motion that.
okay, both
We-
started make a motion.
Can the community comment?
No.
I'm afraid not, but you can comment after.
It's just, I just want to say
the
a
vote.
point of
Say the
fact to
vote.
consider. Pike and Dival is in the storm surge zone, the highest level zone. It is the most likely to flood. So we are in like we have a zone, whatever it is called, 1A, whatever. It's the most prone to flooding.
Covered in the study.
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah, but I think it's covered and we should, yeah.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't want to single out, Spite and Dival versus Broadway versus Marble versus, Harlem. So I think we're good with the generic.
Second the motion.
Yeah, motion is being
No,
seconded, and so it's on the table. Anybody against, please? I see nothing. Anybody abstaining? No, thank you very much. Motion is
Carry.
being approved
Yeah.
for this resolution. Hold on, let me just make sure I save this. Save, okay, good. So this resolution is consequently passed to the executive committee meeting tomorrow. And
Correct.
I know that I will do a final read. I mean, this is the sort of the cover letter. You guys see now, right? Am I sharing screen? Yes, I am. Okay, good.
Yes.
And if anybody wants any sort of, remember please that the actual school board meeting is next Tuesday. So if there's any wording change or any other edits or anything you want, please feel welcome to let me know, because I'm sending this for tomorrow for exec. But I will mention if there's that, you know, we reserve the rights to until say Friday this week to still do any changes, but for the full board, we have to send what we send. So I see both funnels here with
I just,
hands up, so
yeah, we're not gonna get a chance to comment or make any changes in the report submitted by that is attached.
Right.
And so we should take our time right now and just read through it. and
Right
make
now?
sure- Yes.
Yeah.
Make sure that we
Okay,
all like what's being
Hold on.
said.
Bob, can I, so now there is
Can I
a.
just comment? I would like to,
Jody, for just
Camelia,
do what you suggest.
Camelia,
Okay, enough? Yes, Jody, I hear you, but yeah.
could I just
Okay.
finish my comment that everybody seemed to skip over and I didn't get to finish?
No, we didn't.
I don't-
It's not on the
Jody.
committee.
I can't see the report, but
It's
my point
circulated with all the documents. It's circulated and it's on the website and it was circulated end of
Okay,
December.
I'm saying I didn't see it, but I just wanted to make sure my point about the flooding zones in Spite and Duyville is because what I saw on that map you showed me,
Yeah.
that's directing the water onto Metro North property. It's going to affect our transportation infrastructure.
Yeah, we know, and I think there is a section on the report dealing with.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to know is that
Jody,
it mentions.
Yeah, Jody, I do want, because this is like a 7-page thing, and I want to give full credit again to Karen, all the work that she did. But also make sure everybody in the community is absolutely comfortable with the flow of this and with what we are submitting that we all, you know, agree with. But again, I take great pride in the fact that all of this resolution and attachment was sent to full community, yeah? So full information of what is called OML, open meetings law, blah, 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 compliance. Just to say that because it's an issue. Let me go back to share screen and I'm doing this. And now we will quickly scroll through. Let me do like a good zoom sort of ratio. Oh God, if I could only move these things.
And we're
Give me just
looking-
1 second, guys, because I'm trying to kind of zoom so that, okay, maybe this I could, okay.
So Jody, this is where you want specifics.
Yes,
if
that's
it's
what,
not
okay.
there.
So this is the title. This report was drafted by Water Working Group and approved by CBA today, indeed. I will change this, and after it's actually approved by the full board, I will say it was approved by full board by resolution with
That's
the
good.
date of the resolution.
Good.
A summary I thought to put, this is in response to the Army Corps of Engineering heads, whatever, and its impacts on the community board district. The tentative plan selected 3B is this. It includes a combination of a variety of measures, blah, blah, blah. And here's the map that relates to us. I see, for example, here a start of a sentence. I think I will move on the next page. But it addresses these areas. And again, I highlighted this because this is our main point, appear to potentially neglect important low-lying areas of the Bronx, a major part of which is home to many low-income and historically disadvantaged. And this is kind of the conclusion of the summary, right? Despite this is text from Karen, despite the assertion that the TSP measures include complementary induced flooding mitigation features and risk reduction features, as well as non-structural measures and natural and network-based features. This is what I told you that in the other options considered, this is what they were considered to exactly combat, you know, the risks that we are speaking about. The Bronx CBA finds these to likely be insufficient. Moreover, the study is insufficiently taking, see, I could put this, is insufficiently taking into account.
You should say the study does not sufficiently take into account,
Okay,
does not.
Yeah, makes it.
does
like
not
does
sufficiently.
not
So
sufficient.
I had the study failure to
Yeah, I
take
know,
a
but I
one-foot
felt
approach.
but it's too, in my view, Karen, it's too strong to say that fails. I mean, it's partially taking account, not sufficiently as to our observations, but that's my.
Why don't you say does not sufficiently adopt a watershed
Oh,
approach?
yes. Sorry.
You
know what I'm saying? Because sometimes like it's too strong.
It's better if they hear actually, Camelia, straight up.
Yeah.
You think.
It's not sufficiently adopting, right? Is what you're saying?
Not sufficiently adopt.
Oh my God, this is, you know how weird this is what.
Do they try to adopt
Yeah,
a
they do.
watershed approach?
But they're focused on coastal. So you see what I'm saying? So this
Yeah.
is like a second thought, basically.
But do they attempt to adopt a watershed approach?
They attempt, but they are not quite there at the granular level yet, because they are still at macro level.
It's not sufficient a watershed approach.
Let's keep going through because it's like we are half an hour and then we still have like 5 pages.
I say missing important unintended consequences.
Yep.
I would
So
say.
Bob, to answer your question though about whether they adopt a watershed approach, they adopt more of a storm surge approach.
Correct. Exactly.
Because the Bronx is the only actual mainland part of this collection of islands, they're really looking at this from an island point of view and not from a mainland shore point.
Correct. Like we do. Correct. She's correct entirely. Okay, such as additional pressure and water volume management to and from is this a 2 and a comma? 2?
No, it's fine.
No, it's fine. Okay, good. Okay, so this is background CBA during Superstorm Sandy. Karen told them what happened, and and Spite and Diving Metro North Station here, Jody. This is explicitly referred for you. And Karen said that both rivers and the wind contribute to what happens. Thankfully, the surge didn't come to a high tide. We cannot count on the low tide from the next storm surge, correct?
So just to stop there, I don't know if I don't believe that's accurate. I think that there was a high tide during Sandy at approximately 8 p.m.
It didn't come to our area at high tide. The Harlem River didn't get high tide. It was
necessary. That's not necessary.
I'm cutting this.
Yeah.
It will end in most likely both rivers and the wind contributed to what happened. Shall I cut?
I mean, I don't know.
We were not under the high tide when it came. When Sandy came, we were not under high tide.
I was in Manhattan at the time, and the Hudson River most certainly had a high tide during the time of Hurricane Sandy.
But when the surge came to the Harlem River, this is coming up the Harlem River in our area, it wasn't the high tide.
I think
the high tide was on the west, on the east.
Okay, guys. So if there's debate, let's just stick with like generic description that we all agree with, if you wouldn't mind. Yeah. So do you
a lot of variables?
Let me read the last sentence.
You don't have to be forensic here.
Exactly. Yeah. Spite and Diving Metro North Station was underwater, indicating the
May I make a suggestion?
Significantly deeper than the Harlem River was stronger. Can I cut this? Most likely both river and the wind contributing to what happened. Thankfully the surge did not come. We cannot count on the low tide. Can I cut this?
You're supposed to document what happened, so
you want me to leave it? Just tell me what to do and do.
Let's see.
Rephrase.
This, I have no idea about the tidal periods 12 years ago.
And
I mean, when I look,
Karen, can you explain to me your documentation that you're making a statement that it was the Hudson River that caused the flooding, but this has nothing to do with that. This is putting these things up on the Harlem River. So I just feel like this is making the case that it's not going to affect us. So I would just say the Spite and Diving, Metro North Station was underwater due to storm surge.
Yes.
Without saying where the storm surge came from.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't.
Thank you, and don't feel. I mean, you see how you two The surge from Lower Hudson?
Due to stormwater surges, that's it.
Well, and I really like the part where you talk about how the Hudson is much deeper, right? So that there's like a forcing function there. The Harlem River
From
doesn't even
Lower
want to go out.
Hudson, significantly, what, no, but then it doesn't make sense. Hold on. Oh, the sky.
Nobody's gonna read this, you know, I'm just saying.
I know too. That's why I'm like, we are like, you know.
But this has got to be passed by Community Board 8, which the official slogan should be, Community Board 8, no nit too small to pick.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's Community Board 8.
Being stronger. Are we sure about this being stronger?
That's my point, is saying you're to just say, despite Ediville Metro North Station was underwater, no comma, due to stormwater surge from the Harlem River and Lower Hudson, period, with the Hudson being significantly deeper than the Harlem River. There was, and then what you said, Deb, about the pressure.
Yeah, okay, if somebody can reproduce this in one sentence, fine. If not, I'm leaving this.
I think you should remove the part about the high tide, though.
Me too. Okay, I'm doing this and I'm leaving the sentence there. Oh, come on. Okay, good. Oh, did I remove that too? Oh, God. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Where's the undo on this thing?
No, that's right. That was right.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Current conditions. Terry is describing here our current conditions. She points out that it used to be more parkland back in the day before they started developing, which is a great point. And because not necessarily causation, but correlation with the development, superstorm Sandy saw 8 inches of water.
I think, wait. I think we should use the word permeable and impermeable. Because that's really what we're talking about, is the development, the undeveloped permeable space south of Community Board 8. And now it's impermeable, concrete and blacktop and whatever.
There was more parkland and undeveloped permeable space south of CB8 along the Bronx side of Carmel, which now became impermeable.
It's currently completely developed and impermeable.
Became
primarily impermeable.
Which subsequently became,
yeah.
Which has subsequently been developed with impervious surfaces.
Impervious surfaces, yeah.
Which
has subsequently been developed with impervious surfaces.
Hold on, let me just read the whole thing and then we correct. Okay, in 2012, there was more parkland and undeveloped permeable space south of CB8 along the Bronx side of the Harlem River, which currently became developed and primarily impervious.
No, which has subsequently been developed. Been developed.
Which has became developed. Which
No,
has
no, been developed.
Developed and primarily impervious.
And is now primarily impervious.
And is now. No. Come on. Oh my God, this keyboard is Wi-Fi, so you know. Okay. Primarily impervious. Okay, the entire South Bronx is currently completely okay. I don't think there's nothing here. In CBA, there's also a large increase of housing. Okay, yes, no infrastructure. Okay, either it's
no additional green infrastructure. Do you mean green infrastructure there, Karen? The increased development, little or no additional green infrastructure?
I mean, green
no infrastructure.
No, yeah, no, I think we should leave it because she means also for drainage. This is
drainage. There's no drainage, right?
Yeah, I think it would be worth mentioning that there would be this would cause an even greater impact to people living in the area than it did.
Can you let me go with just current conditions, and then there's like a whole analysis section. Okay. This is the map. The map. Connection to Tibet's Brook Watershed Project as the largest green infrastructure. She's describing what the project is because probably they do not know. referring to the need to partially alleviate chronic flooding that already exists, blah, blah, blah. She goes back to 100 years ago, the area was what, well, I think this is useful.
I think this is great. I think it should say that including the Sawmill, many highways named after rivers. So it's the Sawmill River Parkway, it is
Yeah, I
the
have it
Major
there.
Deegan,
That's
it is
four
the
major
Hudson River
highways
Parkway.
for
Just go through and name all four of them,
Do you know the names? Four
Yeah.
major highways, including, okay. which-
including the Sawmill River Parkway, the Sprain, the Major Deegan, the Henry Hudson,
Marshall,
the Moshaloo.
And Marshall Parkway.
Beacon Highway, Moshaw Parkway,
Moshaloo
Yeah.
Parkway.
And Henry Hudson.
you said another one,
Parkway.
Sprain, how is
No,
it?
Henry
Parkway.
Hudson.
Henry Hudson.
And you can end the sentence, there. You don't
Which
need-
are all,
Exactly.
subject to extensive flooding risk.
New sentence, just say all of them are subject
Okay.
or are flood prone.
Or vulnerable, or
Yeah.
those are vulnerable.
To flooding,
Flooding, okay,
to dangerous flooding.
dangerous, okay. Okay, development did not only come from the south, Westchester County,
Mhm.
65 comes from Yonker,
Don't
Yonkers,
touch
yes,
that.
we know. We are concerned that, look, this is good, mitigation discussed in the current version of the study will have a direct impact on Van Corner Lake once the daylighting project is completed to blocking out, for this is great.
Wait, on that part, on the state protected freshwater lake, like, I think you should put that this is a DEC freshwater wetland. It's a protected freshwater wetland, Van Cortlandt Lake.
Isn't it before somewhere?
No, I
No,
wouldn't
no,
put
here where you're
that.
talking about the impact, just in that sentence right there where you say the current version of the study will have a direct impact on the
Van
state
Cortlandt Lake.
protected freshwater, or
No, here, in brackets,
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
see protected, what did he call it? Protected
Freshwater
a freshwater wetland.
freshwater. Okay, once a daylight, okay, good. Picture again, our CSO concerns, so I thought it's important to make this simple and like highlight. We are concerned the changes you propose will direct more water north, directly in the area. This is what we put in the resolution, and increase pressure against the outbound water from CSO. Karen, I don't know what this Y055 is,
Oh,
so.
please.
That is
That's
the
a-
name of it.
That's
Leave
the
leave
big
it
one.
alone, leave it alone.
Yeah.
No, don't touch it.
This is the,
Well, that's another meeting.
no worries, okay. Discharging the city, is being new pipes, this is like advocacy, it's great. Softening the shoreline through additional plan, so here she's switching into,
Nature based.
hold on, exactly, yeah, into the engineering with nature, which I made like a separate paragraph. I like very much that it was so fairly put, that like we acknowledge that the risk of flooding is not manageable, but
Karen, don't let that get around.
green infrastructure alone, and then alone doesn't change, And then she goes again she goes into explaining and giving a very nice sample of a project of where a shoreline was created and with recreation space and all of that at Pier 26. And then main recommendation is for them to consider undertaking a study of the impact of the additional volume on the northern bank. I don't know, this sounds a little bit weird, huh? On the northern bank of the Harlem River to mitigate against.
What is the
stormwater
northern
runoffs.
bank?
I don't know, right? What's the northern bank?
What is, are you talking about Spike and Dival? Where-
Yeah, Laurel Hill, right? It's the North Bank as opposed to Manhattan Community Board 12.
Where it bends,
Bless you.
because it's east and west until Spike and Dival.
Right. The impact of the additional
Additional volume.
volume over.
I would say on communities north of the project zone.
Yeah.
Mm,
Isn't that what you're saying? On communities, additional volume on
Aren't we,
north of the project zone?
aren't we part of the project zone though? We're just
No.
We're not, we are neighbors.
we're just outside of it?
Yeah,
That's the whole point here.
Yeah.
We're not in the zone.
We are not in the zone, yeah, like Laura said. Okay, so what do I change here or I leave it?
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I think Bob's right then. Yeah.
On
Just call
communities
attention
north
to the-
of the project zone.
On community, hold on, because this one, okay. Communities.
They ghosted us.
No, but they don't reach us, Laura.
I said they ghosted us.
To us on communities, sorry, Bob, just give us.
North of the project zone.
Communities north. The project zone. And then to mitigate against, oh no, let's read it again.
Let's say, study to consider. And I would just say, and mitigate against stormwater backups.
Well, it's not just the stormwater backup, so it's the storm surge and the impacts to the storm surge.
I think you said that in the first clause.
Yeah. The recommendation of the Bronx CBA is for USAs to consider undertaking a study of the impact of the additional volume or water volume on communities north of the project zone and mitigate against stormwater backups.
I would just, then it's to mitigate.
Two, okay, so then it goes back to, okay, good.
And two.
And two?
And two. You're asking them to do two things.
Okay, good. Okay, so then it goes into description of what we mean.
Storm surge backups.
Storm
surge, yeah.
Surge backups in the northwest Bronx. Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, well, in general, so it's good. Yeah, the study should compare the impacts and costs of softening. Okay, should also review hydraulic pressure. Hey, I'm getting a jolly just for you, the Spite and Diving Creek and over the Harlem River. In addition, how the Hudson are out for pipes, and I don't understand. In addition, along the Hudson are out for pipes at the western edge of this is correct then. But should we say water out for pipes?
Yeah, that's.
There are outfall pipes from the on the Hudson. Community Board discharges to the Hudson.
Yeah. We anticipated by the time the tier 2 will take place, there will be additional large construction, correct? Continuing care residential centers, yes. It is also northwest. Something that, yeah.
They're not. I wouldn't put water outfall pipes though. Maybe DEP outfall pipes.
Yes.
Sewer
storm and yeah, the stormwater.
They're CSO.
They're
CSO, right?
CSO
Or
out.
CSO.
There you go.
Okay. Also worth noting that during Sandy, the Westchester sewer treatment plant discharge contents into the Hudson. Potential confluence of the increased volume and pressure may result in greater flooding. The concern is that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Nice. And communities such as Bronx, CBA, neighborhoods along both Hudson and Harlem will be impacting negatively. Good. Finally, we urge them to consider further reviewing the existing plan and incorporate an approach that is more watershed based to complement existing risk management plan for New York City. I say to not to complement, but somehow to like build into or to be embedded or something into existing risk management. Are you good with this? I don't want to change it if you're good with it. We also complement. Yeah, we also ask use and consider configurations of the shorelines.
Say shoreline configurations.
Consider, yes.
Shoreline is one word.
Shoreline configurations. Using engineering with nature techniques.
That use engineering with nature.
We are almost there, folks. They use engineering with nature rather than excessive reliance on concrete barriers. Why is this fine here?
You don't need a comma after techniques.
What?
Take out
okay.
Comma after techniques.
Impacting greenhouse gases. We appreciate that. Done. 8:50.
Let's save.
Save, yes.
Where it said Major Deegan, it's usually called Major Deegan Expressway, not Highway, but.
Yeah, we go back
and we have to go back to the first debate about Hudson versus Harlem.
Let's save.
Yeah. Don't worry. I mean, yeah. I will press save again just for you, Laura.
Yeah. We're gonna return to
Wait.
I
What
wanna
did you
make-
say, Major Diga, not highway?
Major Deegan. Expressway. Just express.
Thank you, Bob.
They all have adopted our stream beds, which is amazing.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
Yes, go to the first
Yes.
page. Okay, we're characterizing the cause of the storm, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't.
In that paragraph that we kind
Yeah,
of,
okay, stop, yeah.
Yeah.
Jody, let's get this where, we don't want to take, the Harlem River off the table here. The Spike Double Metro North Station was underwater due to stormwater surge from the lower Hudson, which is significantly, what is that the way it should be? What do you want, Jody?
I'm sorry, I'm eating. What this says is basically that whatever they do in the Harlem River has no effect on us because we flooded because of the Hudson. So I just think it should say it was underwater due to storm surge, period, or from both the Harlem and Hudson River.
or from?
I would personally just end it as storm surge, period. But if you want to specify,
Yeah,
you
why
should say
not
both
speculate
rivers.
on
Let
the
them
cause?
figure it out.
All right, I agree with this.
Well,
We
I
are
think Karen's
speculating.
doing that because their study is to impact those waterways farther south. Those are the waterways that they're working with.
So what Karen says is that the
We
Metro North
make that
Station was impacted by the Hudson, not by the Harlem. Is this what you were trying to say, Karen?
No, it says that that it was indicating the surge from the lower Hudson, which is many times deeper than the Harlem River, was stronger because the water didn't go and make the turn. The water went north.
Yeah, I see.
It's a corollary to what could happen in the Harlem is what Karen is saying.
Okay,
That if, because it
It's a
happened
different,
this
what
way,
I'm saying is completely different than what you
yeah.
want to say.
Her
What I'm
focus
saying
is
is,
being
see
stronger.
the picture?
Oh,
Look at
yeah.
the picture.
yeah,
If you look at the picture, the water went north. It didn't, and it was coming from the Hudson.
we know what she
and
says.
pushing
Yes.
forward. Here's the
That-
picture.
Okay, so
So
if
let's
it came
rephrase.
from the Hudson north and flooded Spike and Diver because it couldn't turn,
It couldn't
okay,
make the turn.
then the same water from the Harlem River could come north and also.
I'm saying the two of them acted together and they both made it worse.
Right, but this sentence
Right,
said that,
that's my point, is it
No.
doesn't sound like they acted together. That this end part, because it's disconnected, doesn't sound like they acted together.
No, because
Okay,
That's
now
all
it's
I'm
changed.
saying.
wrap this up. Karen, I want to give you the final word on this, and whatever you say as a sentence, we'll state the sentence here. Please read to me what you want.
We looked to the Spuyten-Duyvil Metro North Station, which was underwater, indicating the surge from the lower Hudson, which is many times.
Indicating the surge from the lower Hudson significantly
Comma,
deeper than the Harlem
many
River.
times
or
deeper than the Harlem River.
Many times deeper. I'm not sure it's kind of a correct thingy, but a lot significantly deeper.
Significantly deeper.
Okay, significantly deeper is good.
Significantly deeper than the Harlem River. And then you say being stronger.
Is stronger, is stronger.
We will read this again.
Was stronger, was stronger. I have.
Yes. The Spuyten-Duyvil Metro North Station was underwater, indicating the storm surge from the lower Hudson, significantly deeper than the Harlem River, is stronger. I would rephrase, it's kind of
Yeah,
too
that's
complicated to get.
That's not.
Yeah, it's not right. Okay.
You need a
What about causing?
Causing, yeah, I think the causing.
So Karen, is your point that because the Harlem River water was stronger, that because the Hudson River was stronger, the Harlem River water backed up?
Yes,
Yes.
correct?
So-
And went north. The
say
Harlem
that.
River went north. It didn't go to Spuyten-Duyvil.
Well, it's two things, right? I think perhaps what we're missing is a topic sentence that explains why we're saying this. which is
Yeah.
that this shore, this shore of the Harlem River is very vulnerable due to the complexity of the water, and that the Harlem River is deep and strong, or the Hudson River is deep and strong. Spite and Dibble Creek is narrow. The original, and that the Harlem River is attempting to run into its original path due to
Correct.
these pressures. Right.
So the first sentence says, one could imagine that there was a reason that the surge did not turn left to the Hudson.
Right.
And the answer is because obviously it was stronger. There's more water in the Hudson River. It's deeper and wider.
Yeah, it doesn't say that clearly.
Okay, but then, okay, I will move something, Karen, and then,
Well, because that's not what I said.
get together. The Spite and Dibble Metro North Station was underwater, indicating the storm surge from the lower Hudson was stronger.
Maybe just, I think to go back.
Despite of the Harlem River, despite of the Hudson River being deeper than the Harlem River, correct?
I think what
No.
Jody was saying before is good, which is just to simply say the Spite and Dibble Metro North Station was underwater, period. And then the storms, and then get rid of indicating, and then just say the storm surge from the lower Hudson was stronger, significantly deeper, blah, blah, blah.
But both rivers contributed to
The
plus
flooding.
the wind contributed
saying-
to the storm.
Okay, but now we
Take out
messed it up.
indicating. Take over.
What is indicating?
Get rid of indicating, because it is just a matter of fact that it was underwater,
The Spite and Dibble Metro North Station was underwater,
Period.
period.
period, good.
And then capital T.
Yeah, capital T, the storm
The storm
surge.
surge from the lower Hudson was stronger.
Was stronger than, hold on, right there, was stronger than the surge from the Harlem.
Okay, and done.
Okay,
Now that links everything together.
okay.
Or could we say the storm surge from the lower Hudson held back or pushed against the surge from the Harlem River, creating additional flooding?
Please let me leave. If this sentence makes sense, it makes sense and we're done. The Spite and Dibble Metro North Station was underwater. The storm surge from the lower Hudson was stronger than the surge from the Harlem River. Then we should say from the lower Hudson River.
Yeah.
River. What the hell? This, come on. I will read this again, and if this makes sense, this is it. The Spite and Dibble Metro North Station was underwater. The storm surge from the lower Hudson River was stronger than the surge from the Harlem River. It makes sense. I'm thanking infinitely Karen for her patience and wisdom that hopefully this document now encompasses, and thanking everybody for their English skills. And are we good?
I think we're good.
Yes.
8:58. I thank, a hand up from Bobby.
I just want to make clear for the purpose of documenting today's work,
Yes.
that Karen's original submission on behalf of the Water Working Group be entered along with the minutes, and that this be identified as modified by the committee as a whole for the purpose of submitting to the
Absolutely.
resolution. But Karen's original will be in the minutes.
Absolutely, attached to the minutes.
Yes,
And this submission, which is now,
different.
which is now Environment and Sanitation Committee collaborative work,
Word.
is being moved to the full board at
Right.
8:59 PM today.
Let's just show of hands that we approve this
Yes,
version.
show of
put forward.
No, what? No, everybody can jump.
Okay,
We're all
Okay.
for it.
great, good, thank you.
Good, thank you so much.
Thank
Well,
you.
hold on, let me just,
Do we need a
before I
motion?
close, one second.
I need a
Stop
motion to
here.
adjourn.
Are we here all alive? Yes. Thank you so much, everyone.
Great
This
job.
was really great,
Motion to
great
adjourn.
work.
Excellent, excellent.
Thank you, thank you.
Very
And,
thorough.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. and you one more
Bye,
time.
everybody. Good night.
Go
Good night.
and somebody second it.
Oh, wait a minute, wait a
I
minute.
second
Get
adjourning
into the
it.
tree, get into the trees.
What trees?
And when I,
Oh, no, but Karen, just so that I can submit Because I mean, otherwise I just send them that video of like you walking around showing trees, but it's
I
like,
think we need to show up. Karen, you and I should just show up at that meeting.
What meeting?
no,
The
but
land
let's,
use.
yeah, but no, hey, I'm land use member since January. I'm just saying, no, but
Oh, are you really?
I win my battles. Karen, just send a graph so that I email to Laura and to Chuck formally and along with the video. That's all I'm asking with your main point, like 2 sentences or 3 or 4.
I did a PowerPoint.
What I received was just like a little movie of trees.
I know, so that I forgot to send it to you.
Okay, so send it to me. I'm
All right.
happy to forward. All right.
Thanks,
Dear
everybody.
people, thank you so very much. Laura, I will email you with the outcome of this production and have a great
Very
night. And thank you so much.
Excellent. Make
Laura,
sure you hit save, right? Right?
Laura,
Right now, Laura.
in case you're wondering, Laura, I like scotch. Thanks. I'll talk to you later.
We did it flowers, 901. Thank you. I'm closing this business now. Goodbye and good night, everyone. And thank you one more time.
Good night, good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
That was right after I said.